relentless and suffocating. Democracy is now in exile. Human rights have been trampled into the dust. Freedom of the press has been extinguished. Violence, torture, and sexual assault against women and girls raise unchecked. Life and property have no security. Religious minorities face continuous persecution. Law and order have collapsed. From the capital to the remotest villages, mob terror, mass looting, armed robbery, and extortion reign supreme. Our institutions of learning are plagued by chaos, and justice has become a nightmare. The frenzy of
Hello and a very warm welcome. You're watching CNN News 18. Makes sense. I'm Ayusha Singh. Lots lined up for you in this bulletin, but first up, the headlines. After Prime Minister's CMC attack on opposition, DMK and Congress unite. Hit back at Prime Minister with Dappa engine attack. Tharoor skips party meeting to attend literature festival, but Congress defends him. Denies rift speculations. After the 3 meetings of the Congress parliamentary strategy, Shashi Tharoor has now attended only one. PM Modi slams state government over Kartike Deepam Rao in Madurai. Calls DMK the biggest enemy of Tamil Nadu's culture. JUIF chief Maulana Fazlur Rahman launches direct attack against Pakistan's Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif, accusing the leadership of prioritizing the appeasement of US President Donald Trump over religious and national principles. India and EU set for mother of all deals. EU chief in India for Republic Day celebrations says very close to sign the FTA. Ousted Bangladesh Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina's first recorded interview takes on Yunus government, raises alarm over tampering of human rights. Bangladesh opts out from T20 World Cup after ICC snub over India travel. Scotland to replace Bangladesh. Official announcement likely shortly. And we start this bulletin with a piece of breaking news. In fact, this is a CNN News 18 exclusive. India has quietly taken its next giant leap in space. The Indian Space Research Organisation has begun the groundwork for building the Bharatiya Antariksh Station, which is India's own permanent space station in low Earth orbit, which is envisioned as the country's answer to the International Space Station. Now, CNN News 18 has learned that ISRO's Vikram Sarabhai Space Centre is formally invited Indian companies to help build the first module of the space station, marking the first concrete step towards putting Indians in a continuously inhabited space laboratory by 2035. In fact, the first module is expected to be launched in 2018. For more on this, I'm being joined by CNN News 18's Aman Sharma. In fact, he's the one who has brought us this information. Aman, over to you.
Well, thank you so much, Ayusha. See, the big dream of India has been to have its own version of the International Space Station. India has been working to have its own a space station in back up there in space, and ISRO finally is now beginning work on India's own space station. It is the Bharatiya Antariksh Station, which is supposed to take shape now by 2028, and this is the quietly India taking the next giant leap in space. What we are bringing exclusively to our viewers is that ISRO has begun the groundwork for building the Bharatiya Antariksh Station, India's own permanent space station in low Earth orbit, envisioned as the country's answer to the International Space Station. CNN News 18 has learned that ISRO's Vikram Sarabhai Space Centre has formally now invited Indian companies to help build the first module of the space station, marking the first concrete step towards putting Indians in a continuously inhabited space laboratory by 2035. The first module is expected to be launched in 2028, and ISRO has now issued an expression of interest calling on Indian aerospace manufacturing firms to develop 2 complete sets of the BAS-01 structure. The first module of the Bharatiya Antariksh Station, and this module will form the backbone of the future space station, which ISRO sees as the next logical step after the Gaganyaan human spaceflight program. Here we are bringing you for the first time the exclusive blueprint of how this module 1 of the Bharatiya Antariksh Station will look like. That on the top you see is the habitable module of this particular Bharatiya Antariksh Station, which will be coming up, and below that you can see is the propulsion bay of that Bharatiya Antariksh Station, which will be coming up. This is the first time the blueprint of this Bharatiya Antariksh Station is being made available to our viewers through CNN News 18. The habitable module, as you can see, the exact dimensions, and the propulsion bay, the exact dimensions have been accessed by us from ISRO. This will be the blueprint of this entire program, and in simple terms, this is where India moves from sending astronauts to space to living and working in space. And according to ISRO, the Bharatiya Antariksh Station represents India's vision of a permanent human presence in space, and once operational, BAS will serve as a space laboratory for long duration experiments as well, which will be carried out in the habitable module, as you can see on this graphic. These will be long duration experiments enabling advanced research in microgravity, helping Indians master technologies needed for future deep space missions. And the long term plan is to launch the first BAS module into orbit by 2028 and gradually expand it into a fully functional space station by 2035. And what Indian companies, Ayusha, are being asked to build is no small piece of hardware. Each module will be 3.6 meters in diameter, 8 meters tall, and will be built using high strength aluminium alloy, the same material used for human-rated space missions. And these structures must meet the same safety and quality standards as Gaganyaan, since astronauts will eventually live and work inside them. And ISRO wants these two full sets of this module to be built on Earth before launch. And as I said, this is not ordinary manufacturing. The work demands extreme precision, and companies must develop specialized welding and fabrication techniques and ensure near perfect tolerances. Errors of even half a millimeters are unacceptable, and that is why this entire model is specifying each and every dimension right down to every millimeter. Pressure tests will be conducted on this, leak tests will be conducted on this, and then once they are fit for human rated quality protocols, this will be one of the most complex aerospace manufacturing assignment ever offered to an Indian industry.
Aman, notably, India is now moving from its space missions to now the permanent presence in orbit. So what do you think it signals about India's space vision?
Well, I should say ISRO has made one thing very, very clear, that this is an Indian-only effort. Number one, made in India. Bharatiya Antariksh Station will be a made in India effort. There will be no financial assistance from the government to set up facilities, no outsourcing of critical processes, like welding or final assembly. There will be strict oversight, but ISRO will supply Gaganyaan qualified raw materials, detailed manufacturings, and 3D models of all components. The responsibility to deliver flawless hardware lies entirely with the selected Indian firms. And before, as we see the Gaganyaan, the unmanned launch of Gaganyaan is going to happen this year, where we will send a spacecraft into space, which will ultimately carry humans in low orbit. So Gaganyaan is the first step, the Bharatiya Antariksh Station is the second step, and these are the big dream projects of ISRO going ahead in the next 3 years. This definitely signals a major shift in India's space program. ISRO is no longer just launching satellites or planning short-term astronaut mission. It is preparing for a future where Indians live, work, and conduct science in space for months at a time.
Also, Aman, you mentioned, in fact, in this information that you've brought to us, you've mentioned about the private industry and their role into this. So, how will they be helping with this vision of Bharatiya Antariksh stations? See,
ISRO is tying up with the private companies. That is the big idea, that it should be the private companies who should be helping ISRO to come up this. And the timelines which have been fixed. Also, if they hold, the first piece of India's space station could be in orbit by 2028, and a milestone that would place India among an elite group of spacefaring nations. That is all dependent also on how Indian private firms help us, help in this entire project.
Right, Aman, do stay with us. We're also being joined by Gohar Raza, who's the space scientist. Mr. Raza, welcome to CNN News 18. This is a major milestone for India. I would like your initial thoughts on this.
My reaction would be that it's a very welcome step that India is going to take, and ISRO is leading the entire project. But this idea has been going on for a very long time. It is not a new idea. As far as ISRO is concerned, ISRO has been working on it for a very long time. And now it is getting matured. And I'm very happy about it, that it is getting matured. Of course, other companies are being, in private sector, are being invited, which is again a new thing to happen for ISRO. I think that, India is going to join the club anyway. We have technology, we have experience, we have gained experience through collaborations with other countries, and now we are ready to do it on our own. So it's a very welcome step, and the entire country should rejoice it. Entire country should be happy about it and should be proud of ISRO and the scientists working there. It's a long, long journey from bullock cart to now space station. It's a great step. I think we are equipped as a nation to launch this step, and very soon we will be doing experiments in space. So there are two things that have happened, in my opinion. We have mastered the technology to a great extent, and we stand shoulder to shoulder with other space scientists elsewhere. But we also have shifted from only mastering technology to doing scientific experiments in the space, which is a great thing for me, because unless and until you utilize space technologies to advance horizons of science, it remains a spectacle, a technological spectacle. But I think in future, after we have this space station, we will be utilizing it to advance science itself. And space science is going to be a very important future area for the humanity at large.
And Mr. Raza, the deadlines which have been fixed, the BAS-1, the first module to be launched in 2028, and first Indians to go to the Bharatiya Antariksha Station by 2035. Do you think these deadlines are realistic and the ISRO can achieve them?
I think these deadlines are definitely achievable. Number one, they are realistic. Number two, and number three, that in technologies, when you are launching a project, there are always twists and turns. So a delay of a few years doesn't make much of a difference. In my opinion, first we have to master the technology and then launch the scientific investigations. And I think that ISRO will be able to achieve it. So most of the time ISRO has met most of their deadlines. So the record is very good, and we should be proud of this record. As a nation, as scientists, we should be proud of these records of ISRO. ISRO has done exceedingly well. There have been problems because international collaboration is an important component of developing technologies and achieving the deadlines. But in the beginning, we were left alone. There were hardly anybody, especially American. United States of America refused to collaborate with us and give us technologies. So there were problems which we have overcome on our own and met the deadlines.
Well, thank you so much, Mr. Raza, for joining us on CNN News 18. Back to you, Aisha.
Right, Aman, thank you so much for bringing us your insights into this matter. We will, of course, be keeping an eye as more details emerge. For now, we shift our focus to another breaking news coming in. Second year BTech student allegedly jumped from the 4th floor of the hostel. Now, the student, identified as Udit Soni on the night of the incident, had returned to his hostel after consuming alcohol with his friends. The hostel management reprimanded the student for this act and recorded a video of this entire incident and sent it to his father. Now, upon receiving the video, the father scolded Udit Soni, the student in question, and demanded that he be removed from his enrollment and be called back home. Upset by this incident, Udit Soni jumped from the 4th floor of the hostel. Listen into what the reactions are.
रात्रि लगभग 11:30 बजे थाना नॉलेज पार्क क्षेत्रांतर्गत एक हॉस्टल एजेड स्टे की 4थी मंजिल से कूदकर एक छात्र ने सुसाइड कर लिया था, जिसकी सूचना थाना नॉलेज पार्क को मिलने पर शव को तत्काल पुलिस द्वारा कब्जे में लेकर परिजनों की उपस्थिति में पंचायतनामा कार्रवाई कर पोस्टमार्टम के लिए भेजा गया। सुसाइड की सूचना पर काफी छात्र इकट्ठे हो गए थे, जिन्हें समझा बुझाकर हॉस्टलों में भेज दिया गया है। 2 लोगों को हिरासत में लेकर पूछताछ की जा रही है। अग्रिम विधिक कार्रवाई प्रचलित है।
Now, CNN News 18 Simran Babbar joins us for more on this. Simran, a very good morning to you. What more can you tell us about this? What is the preliminary investigation into this entire matter saying? All right, seems like we've lost that line, but while we try to re-establish that line, let's just walk you through what this incident really is. We're given to understand that a second-year BTech student, he was allegedly, he jumped from the 4th floor of the hostel. In fact, what we're learning is that also it's a suicide. So now, for more on this, I'm being joined by CNN News 18 Simran Babbar. Simran, what is the preliminary investigation into this entire matter pointing out towards?
Well, absolutely. Now, if we look at the facts of the details that have come forward in the police statement from the Noida police, the Knowledge Park police station that has been investigating this case, this is a second-year BTech student that we have now confirmed, and the incident dates back to the time when he was coming back with his friends, with whom he had gone out and also had consumed alcohol. And after consuming alcohol, the student who is identified as Udit Soni on the incident, when he returned to his hostel, the hostel management then reprimanded the student for this act, or also scolded him and morally, in fact, also questioned him for consuming alcohol, and also then recorded a video that was put in question, which was sent to his father, Vijay Soni. The student actually, after following this very incident from the hostel management, he got a call from his father, and upon receiving this video, his father again scolded the student and demanded that he should be removed from his enrollment. That came as a big jolt and a setback to the student, and then he will be called back home. The student, as per the statement by the friends and now the police is what confirming, student actually felt actually very upset by the incident, and then he decided to jump from the 4th floor of the incident. Now, importantly, there is a video from the Galgotia University that is going viral also after the student has decided to jump from the 4th floor. While, in fact, this entire incident has raised a question in regards with the behavior and the kind of act by the hostel management. Now, the police is probing this entire matter. They have also taken 2 people in custody, and now they will be questioning them further and giving out the details accordingly. Back to you.
All right, Simran, thank you so much for bringing us your inputs. And now, shifting focus once again. This year's Republic Day parade is set to make history. For the very first time, Kartavya Path will witness a phased battle array, which is a dynamic battlefield-style formation where contingents move exactly as they would in combat. The parade will begin with reconnaissance units, followed by artillery, missiles, logistics and personnel marching in full battle gear. Now, the new format is designed to give citizens a real sense of how India's armed forces operate in war scenarios. Alongside this, the celebrations will also mark 150 years of Vande Mataram and showcase 30 tableaus, a massive fly-past and the debut of the Bhairav Battalion. With the European Union leaders as chief guests also, the 77th Republic Day promises to be one of the most powerful displays of India's military might and cultural pride. Listen in.
Unfurling of national flag as one important aspect, and right now we are joined by Flight Lieutenant Akshata Dhankar, who is going to in fact unfurl the national flag along with the President Draupadi Murmu. Ma'am, first of all, not every officer get the opportunity to share the Republic Day dais with the President. You are the one, and you have this important responsibility. If you can talk to us about this sort of responsibility, ma'am.
So I've been given this honor to unfurl the national flag with the Supreme Commander, the President of India, on the 26th of January. I feel extremely honored to be a part of it, and the feeling that I have is of great humility.
What is the selection process? What was the sort of practice that was involved? If you can, tell us about that sort of thing.
So the selection process is rigorous. We've been training for the past 2.5 months. Initially, you can volunteer for this, or you can come through it by the name itself. And then we go through a rigorous training process of 2.5 months, where we are initially trained with the contingent itself, and then through that you're selected for the flag officer post.
Do we have any sort of practice as well for it?
Of course, definitely there are practices involved. We go early in the morning. Initially, we are being trained for the parade itself. We go early in the chilly mornings, then we do parade. There is rigorous physical training and stamina building involved in it. It is of national importance on such a great, humongous, momentous occasion that I have been assigned this role, and I feel it is a great responsibility on my shoulders, and I will try my best to do it perfectly.
Are you nervous as well because you're just a few hours away from the particular occasion?
I would not say I'm nervous at all. I feel extremely happy and delighted to be a part of it, and with so much of practice that we've been doing for the past month, I feel it is a muscle memory now, and I am just excited for the occasion.
Sir, if you can talk to us about the kites that you are going to showcase for the very first time, आप अगर हमें बता सकें किस तरह से ट्रेन करते हैं. एक्साइज युद्ध अभ्यास औली में हुई थी, उसमें सबसे पहली बार भारतीय सेना ने कहें कि इन काइट्स को दिखाया था. किस तरह की प्रैक्टिस इन्वॉल्व होती है और किस तरह से काम आती हैं ये?
जो एनिमल ट्रेनिंग है वो अपने आप में पूरी साइकोलॉजिकल साइंस है. तो पहले होता था इनका डोमिनेंस ट्रेनिंग बहुत पहले. अभी क्या धीरे धीरे ट्रेनिंग इवॉल्व होते हुए हम ऑपरेंट कंडीशनिंग मेथड एक होता है जिसमें ट्रेनिंग जानवर के हिसाब से कराई जाती है कि आप उसके जो वॉलंटरी जो रिस्पॉन्सेज हैं उन्हीं को चैनलाइज करते हो, मॉडरेट करते हो to get the desired result, and in the process animal feels that he is doing what he wants. But you are getting the work done which is required as an in the organizational interest for the benefit of the country.
सर, हमारे दर्शकों के लिए अगर आप हमें बता सकें, ये काइट, मुझे जानकारी है कि किस तरह से ये प्रे करती है और क्या कुछ काम है इसका, कैसे काम करती है, अगर ये बता सकें क्या करती है ये काइट?
ये काइट एक तो जो छोटे ड्रोन हैं जिनके पंख बहुत बड़े, जिनके पर बहुत बड़े नहीं रहते हैं, उनको फिजिकली न्यूट्रलाइज कर सकती है और अपने सिर के ऊपर लगाए हुए छोटे कैमरा से ये सर्वेलेंस का काम कर सकती है.
And with that, we slip into a very short break here on City News 18. Don't go anywhere. News and updates will follow on the other side.
The private sector should be encouraged in all which ways possible in this coming budget. We also want to make sure that we are not entirely dependent on imports for our critical sectors like solar energy and semiconductors. The government to take steps which will generate large-scale employment in the country. Watch me, Rajiv Kumar, as I analyze the budget exclusively for CNN News 18.
This is News 18 Network. India's largest news network.
Start with news coming in from Bangladesh regarding Bangladesh, that in the first interview since her ouster, former deposed Bangladesh Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina has accused the Yunus-led interim government of trampling human rights and driving the nation into chaos, viewers. Speaking through an audio message from exile in India, Hasina described Bangladesh as a land filled with cries of people struggling to survive amid destruction. She branded Muhammad Yunus a murderous, fascist usurper and plunderer, alleging that his policies have bled the nation dry. Hasina warned that freedom of the press has been extinguished, minorities persecuted and women subjected to unchecked violence. Have a look.
Our once serene and fertile land has been reduced to a wounded, blood-soaked landscape. In truth, the entire country has become a vast prison, an execution ground, a valley of death. Everywhere, one hears only the cries of the people struggling to survive amid destruction. A desperate plea for life, heartrending screams for relief. The murderous fascist news, a usurer, a money launderer, a plunderer, a corrupt, power-hungry traitor, has bled our nation dry with his all-consuming perditions, staining the soul of our motherland. On August 5th, 2024, in a meticulously engineered conspiracy, the national enemy, the murderous fascist Inus, and his entasted militant accomplices forcibly ousted me, though I am the people's representative, directly elected. From that day forward, the nation has been plunged in.
Welcome back. You're watching CNN News 18 Makes Sense. Kashmir has turned into a winter wonderland as fresh snowfall blankets most parts of the valley. Pulwama, alongside with Srinagar, Gulmarg and other districts, witnessed the season's first major spell. The picturesque white cover has brought cheer to residents and tourists alike, marking the arrival of winter in its full glory. From snow-capped rooftops to bustling markets, the valley is glowing under its pristine blanket, setting the stage for a truly magical season ahead. Take a look at this ground report.
The prolonged dry spell in Kashmir Valley has come to an end, and everything in Kashmir is blanketed in a white blanket of snow. And you will notice behind me we're in this beautiful place in Pulwama where everything has turned white and majority of the districts in Kashmir Valley have received their first snowfall of the season. It's a boost for horticulture, agriculture and every activity that takes place in Kashmir Valley throughout the year, because snow forms a core part of not only electricity generation but also provides water, and other essential activities take place because of this snowfall. It has been welcomed by people from all corners of Kashmir that they were waiting for the snow to fall. And you will notice behind me, my VJ Bashir will show you that these mountains are covered with a fresh blanket of snow around them, and everything looks beautiful and pristine, and that is why this snowfall was important. The road connecting Jammu to Srinagar and Srinagar to rest of the country has been closed because of the snow accumulation. Around 24 aircrafts today could not fly, and all flights from Srinagar International Airport have been cancelled for the day because there has been snow accumulation. The Met has predicted further snowfall in the coming hours, but as you notice around me that everything has turned white. There is clearance of road that is taking place, and the roads have been cleared by the government, but electricity has been bleak in majority of Kashmir Valley, facing power cuts because of the snowfall, bringing down electricity wires and poles. So the transport, both air and road, has seen hampering, and at the same time, people in Kashmir Valley have welcomed the snowfall and said that this will definitely bring a sort of relief for them because it hadn't snowed for a very long time in Kashmir Valley.
And with that, it's a wrap on this edition of the Breaking News Show on CNN News 18. Thank you so much for tuning in.
This budget should be a budget of consolidation, make expenditures more relevant for the economy and for the people of the country, and addresses these priorities, the priorities of unemployment, pollution and environment. I think that would be a great budget. Watch me live, Subhash Chandra Garg, on CNN News 18 on the budget day.
This is News 18 Network. India's largest news network.
start with news coming in from Bangladesh regarding Bangladesh that in the first interview since her ouster, former deposed Bangladesh Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina has accused the Yunus-led interim government of trampling human rights and driving the nation into chaos, viewers. Speaking through an audio message from exile in India, Hasina described Bangladesh as a land filled with cries of people struggling to survive amid destruction. She branded Muhammad Yunus a murderous, fascist usurper and plunderer, alleging that his policies have bled the nation dry. Hasina warned that freedom of the press has been extinguished, minorities persecuted and women subjected to unchecked violence. Have a look.
Our once serene and fertile land has been reduced to a wounded, blood-soaked landscape. In truth, the entire country has become a vast prison, an execution ground, a valley of death. Everywhere, one hears only the cries of the people struggling to survive amid destruction. A desperate plea for life, heart-rending screams for relief. The murderous fascist Yunus, a usurer, a money launderer, a plunderer, a corrupt, power-hungry traitor, has bled our nation dry with his all-consuming perditions, staining the soul of our motherland. On August 5th, 2024, in a meticulously engineered conspiracy, the national enemy, the murderous fascist Yunus, and his anti-state militant accomplices forcibly ousted me, though I am the people's representative, directly elected. From that day forward, the nation has been plunged into an age of terror, merciless, relentless, and suffocating. Democracy is now in exile. Human rights have been trampled into the dust. Freedom of the press has been extinguished.
Namaste, Jai Hind, and welcome to yet another edition of Take 3, which is increasingly becoming Take 4. But more the merrier, and whenever we have diverse voices to talk about what's happening around the globe, it just makes the conversation all the more interesting. So as usual, got the three suspects. That's myself, Anand Narasimhan, Zaka Jacob, Rahul Shivshankar. But in our midst today is the Mark Tully of the Arab world, Dr. Wael Awad, political analyst and war journalist, who's, for his own admission, is that he spent more time in Bharat than he spent in his own motherland of Syria. So welcome, Dr. Wael Awad. Let's start with the Arab world. What's happening there?
Oh, that's the welcome to the Arab world. It's a mess. So everybody is wanted his share of the cake of the Arab resources. And now we can see what's happening, whether it is from the North African countries into the Gulf states. So it's all in turmoil. Having said that, I would say that because the last year was witnessing more than 8 countries has been attacked by Israel and the Gaza after the Gaza war, and even the United States have taken the advantage of attacking Iran and also attacked part of Iraq where the American troops were still stationed there. So the situation is turmoil. We are expecting that to stay for some time. It will take a long time before this.
What's brewing between the Saudis and the UAE?
That's another story to tell.
They're competing about roller coasters. They're competing about Burj. They're competing about alliances also.
Well, I think the relation between the two neighbors were very strong. Mohammed bin Zayed and Mohammed bin Salman had a very strong tie. Till 2015, when they started the coalition in Yemen, and then they were taking the lead, and all of a sudden, recently, when the Mohammed bin Salman noticed, as per the Saudis' narrative, that he has captured, or they have witnessed two warships have taken all the, the ship, the weapon to Mutalla in port in Yemen, and then they bombed it, and then the problem started from there. And I think now as per the Saudis, they are resettling their own house in order, and Mohammed bin Salman is taking the lead as a leading Islamic country in the Gulf country, while also the UAE also maintain its presence all over the world. You know, UAE is a very strong presence everywhere, and they are bigger than their size in terms of they are influence.
But Dr. tell me, obviously, we had MBZ come here. It was a whirlwind sort of a tour. He was barely here for a few hours. A lot of significant announcements were made as he met the Prime Minister. The concern here in India is after this Saudi-Pakistan sort of military mutual defense treaty, there's been a concern here in India that, look, we can't just allow this to pass. And some commentators are saying the visit of the UAE president is sort of to try and counter, or at least send a signal to the Arab world that, look, we also have partners there. They did announce some kind of a preliminary cooperation on defense, on mutual defense. They haven't announced a full agreement. But do you think it's moving in the direction where India and the UAE are coming closer, even on something like defense, so that, the Saudis are told that, look,
Yeah, that's a very important question you raised. Actually, to be honest, we live in the conspiracy era in the Arab world, and I don't know if you have been inflicted by us.
We all live in the Trump era.
Can you imagine that? India, for God's sake, did not take part in the Russia-Ukraine war, despite the pressure from the global power. Now they wanted to take for a regional power. I don't buy this, this narrative from anybody. Why I'm saying so? Because the relation between India and UAE is so strong. You have 4.3 million Indian living in UAE only. You have more than $75 billion investment promised by the UAE. Yeah. You are the second largest partners in terms of the global trade. So India have lots of stake in particular in UAE and in general in the GCC. So you have 9.7 million Indian are living there, and you have more than 14 million Indian visit the place annually. So imagine what could the India stake in this region. So if we see the proximity of India to any of these countries, it's good for India and good for the Arab world.
Can I ask, I just want to introduce this because I think what is happening is that commentators are now calling this Pakistan-Saudi Mutual Defense Pact, Mutual Defense Assurance Pact, or whatever they call it, a kind of Islamic NATO coming together. So the Islamic NATO now looks to be enlarged because Turkey also wants to get in. Is this workable?
Look, I have always been calling the president of Turkey as the de facto Khalifa. Nobody believed me those days, till we have seen the political Islam spreading in Syria, in the Middle East, and then he wanted to expand even to China.
Exactly.
Because most of the Uyghur, more than 15,000 Uyghuris are fighting along with our forces in Syria, and they have been posted on the border to Turkey, and it is the Pakistan in the making. So we all understand that Turkey has given the total infrastructure for the terrorist organization, who flown from over 83 countries. 137,000 terrorists came through Turkey. So Turkey thinks that they can do it. But I think there is a change in the perceptions in the American mind. They don't want anymore the political Islam. See, attacking Qatar is one of the issues when we have to focus in. Turkey is the right hand of the Hamas and the Islamic Muslim Brotherhood, and people think that during the Arab Spring that they were going to, take the lead and being the symbolic of a moderate Islam, plus they can do the governance. But that is how, when now there's a change of perception, and I don't want this. So there is a new oracle, Abraham Accord. Abraham religion is coming. But without causing the damage of Islamic nations and minorities in any other countries, Turkey will take the lead along with Pakistan in spreading that kind of extremism and again revival
so do we
of
need
terrorism.
To be worried?
You need to be worried. It's a
because
fast in your belt.
The problem is that till now, the Islamic bomb, so to speak, was only with Pakistan. Yeah. Now, if you have this mutually assured sort of defense pact, Zach, basically Saudis and Turkeys get a nuclear umbrella.
Yeah, also they get foot soldiers, right? I mean, at the end of the day, the Pakistan army is a rent-a-price
They have been always in Saudi Arabia. They have been for decades.
I think there's also the division will come to the fore as in